Genetic engineering, also known as genetic modification or biotechnology, involves manipulating an organism's genetic material to introduce desirable traits or modify existing ones. While genetic engineering holds the potential for significant advancements in agriculture, medicine, and other fields, it also comes with inherent risks and ethical concerns. 1. Environmental impact. One of the main risks of genetic engineering is its potential impact on the environment. Genetically modified organisms, GMOs, could potentially spread and interact with wild species, leading to unintended consequences such as the disruption of ecosystems and the loss of biodiversity. Details. Concerns about the unintended release of genetically modified crops and animals into the environment have raised questions about how GMOs may interact with non-modified organisms. 2. Unintended side effects. Genetic engineering can lead to unintended changes in an organism's biology. These side effects may not be apparent immediately and could emerge over time, leading to unexpected outcomes and possible harm. Details. Genetically modified crops, for example, may exhibit unexpected changes in nutritional content, allergenicity, or susceptibility to pests. 3. Health risks. There are potential health risks associated with consuming genetically modified foods. While regulatory bodies require safety assessments for GMOs before they enter the market, concerns about long-term health effects persist. Details. Some studies have raised concerns about the potential allergenicity and toxicity of genetically modified crops. 4. Transfer of genetic material. There is a risk that genetic material from genetically modified organisms could transfer to non-modified organisms through crossbreeding or other means. This gene flow could lead to unintended consequences, such as the spread of modified traits to wild species. Details. The transfer of genes from genetically modified crops to related wild plant species has been documented in some cases, raising concerns about potential environmental impacts. 5. Resistance in superweeds. The widespread use of genetically modified crops with traits such as herbicide resistance can lead to the evolution of resistant pests and weeds. This could result in the emergence of superweeds that are more challenging to control. Details. In cases where genetically modified crops are designed to be resistant to specific herbicides, repeated use of these herbicides has led to the development of herbicide-resistant weeds. 6. Ethical concerns. Genetic engineering raises ethical questions about tampering with the genetic makeup of living organisms. Critics argue that it could lead to a commodification of life and raise issues of social justice, particularly concerning access to genetically modified technologies. Details. Questions about who benefits from genetic engineering, who controls the technology, and how it may exacerbate existing inequalities have been widely debated. 7. Unpredictable long-term consequences. The long-term impacts of genetic engineering are challenging to predict fully. Once released into the environment, genetically modified organisms may interact with the ecosystem in ways that are not yet understood. Details. Some scientists and environmentalists caution that the full implications of genetic engineering may not be apparent for many years or even decades. 8. Cross-contamination of organic crops. There is a risk of cross-contamination between genetically modified crops and organic or conventional crops, potentially leading to the loss of organic status or disputes between farmers. Details. Organic farmers may face challenges in maintaining the purity of their crops if genetically modified crops are grown nearby. 9. Biopiracy and intellectual property concerns. Genetic engineering technologies may be subject to intellectual property rights, leading to issues of biopiracy and concentration of control over seeds and genetic resources. Details. The patenting of genetically modified seeds has raised concerns about the monopolization of agricultural resources by a few large corporations. 10. Unintentional release of engineered organisms. The accidental release of genetically engineered organisms into the environment is a risk associated with laboratory research, field trials, and the production of GMOs. Details. There have been instances of unintended release of genetically modified organisms during field trials or research, raising concerns about the containment and regulation of genetically engineered organisms. Efforts to mitigate these risks include robust safety assessments and regulations, transparent research, and public engagement. The precautionary principle, which advocates for caution in the face of uncertain risks, is often applied to guide decision-making related to genetic engineering. Continued scientific research, responsible innovation, and public dialogue are essential to ensure that genetic engineering is used in a way that maximizes benefits while minimizing potential risks and negative impacts on society and the environment.